is Offbeat, podcast that helps you to transform your career aspirations into reality. With your host, Adnan Sohail.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for coming back on the channel. In this episode, I'm sitting with Dr. Nancy Haines. She's running her own Center of Confidence here in Dubai. She's a coach, she's a mentor, she's the confidence builder among the people, working with individuals as well as with the corporates, with the leaders. So whatever the field you are on the senior position or you are the just career starter, this video is very much important for you, and I will advise you to watch it from beginning till end so that you will not miss any part, and then you can apply all these tips in your personal life. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm excited.
We will talk about the confidence and how to build confidence. But what is the reason why people are not having confidence?
I think one of the biggest reasons, I think from the last decade, is that we've shifted everything from looking inward to outward. I mean, look at social media. It's impacted the world on so many different levels. Trends, the moment somebody is seen wearing certain things or doing certain things, it becomes a trend. And I feel like everything's becoming so robotic. We're not thinking for ourselves. We're thinking about, what is everybody else doing? Okay, I'm going to do that. And that is a big part of why this is so meaningful to me, because we're getting to a point where it's now becoming an issue.
If now someone wants to just quit this video and they don't want to see it anymore, what quick tip you can say that, okay, gentlemen or ladies, move out from here, but take this takeaway to build your confidence? What are those quick tips or techniques?
The main one is, are you self-confident? Are you self-aware? That's looking inward. If you answer that question and that answer is no, you need to continue watching the video. But if the answer is yes, and you know why you do the things that you do, if you know why the fear and the blocks that are stopping you, you know why they're there, then you're done with the video. It's looking inward.
Right.
That self-awareness of, who am I? Why am I the way that I am? Right. That's the biggest key. So if that's all you need to know, those are the two questions you need to journal on and go figure out what you're going to answer, then you're done.
Communication, I think this is very much important element, because your communication shows that how much confident you are. Sometimes even it is said that fake it till you make it. And I think so for that purpose, yes, communication is one thing which is important. What are your achievements, what you are great to do at your workplace or in your personal life? Until you don't tell it to people, how people will come to know. So how to keep the balance of communication? Because I don't want like people keep on talking about themselves all the way that, see, this is what I am, this is what I am. So what is the importance of communication in self-confidence building? And plus, if you can tell us that how to keep or maintain a balance of communication.
I think a big piece of it is effective communication, because I can sit here and talk. You know, even when you're going on a date, I feel communication impacts you all around, and how you act in one place, you may actually act everywhere. I think a guru once said, I can't remember who I got it from, but they said it and it just hit home, where they said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And you start looking at the patterns of when you're, for example, when you're going to go on a date and somebody's so shy, or somebody is overly, oh, I do this and I've done that. You start looking at their communication style.
Right.
If I know who I am, if I know the value that I bring in a relationship, and that means at work or romantic or friendship, it doesn't matter. Your communication style says it all. Completely. If you own it, and it doesn't mean, I mean authentic confidence, like that, where you just have to sit, you know who you are, you can talk to somebody, connect with them, because you're not afraid to. You're not afraid to connect with them. You don't have a barriers that you only know this, but you cannot know any of this. Right. There's a sense of freedom when you're confident about yourself. Right. It's not that you have to be the person that's like the most outgoing, the most loud in a room, that you need the attention. It's not that. It's authentic confidence, where you're just you, your presence, and having that conversation, that flow, and allowing people to connect with you. So big.
Especially I want to talk about the workplace. A lot of conflicts happen because people are with a different background, different generations work at same workplace. They might be having some different thoughts, or maybe the length of their experience, which conflicts come up and they keep on coming. How to handle conflicts with confidence?
You know, I think at the end of the day is being able to get your ego aside, put that ego aside, and let's look at the situation from a place of understanding. So there's a conflict between you and I. The conflict is this. What part did I have in this?
Right.
My problem was that I didn't communicate with you on time, for example. What was your part in this? Because it takes two people to make that situation happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't speak up. So we both had responsibility in that. And that, when you are able to have effective communication and when you're confident in yourself, you're not afraid to admit that you're wrong.
Exactly.
You're not afraid to say, I made a mistake.
True.
I will rectify this. How do we find the solution moving forward?
Right.
And you get into a solution mode of, okay, we did this. This is what happened. I take my responsibility. You take yours. And now how do we move forward?
Right.
That is when you can tell that somebody is so self-aware and confident in themselves and in their abilities to change.
So someone should have these guts to admit that I can be wrong also, or sometimes both cannot be wrong. It's not mandatory always.
Perspectives.
Yes, exactly.
Perspectives. It's a big, it's always that, you know, there's a lot of times where you have a different perspective with somebody else and neither of you is right or wrong, but because of your experience that you've had and because of my experience that I've had, we look at that situation completely different.
Right.
That's why it goes back to the beginning, which is a level of understanding. When we're discussing a conflict that is happening, why did this happen? If it was a difference in perspective, okay, it wasn't you're right, I'm wrong, egos aside, what happened here?
Got it.
That's it.
I'm sure that you guys must be having different situation in personal life or at your workplace where you feel that you could have deal the situation in a better way if you had the confidence. Sometime maybe you have to speak with your boss or with your parents or with your kids, and it happens with all of us in life that we sometimes try to avoid situations. And I think so confidence is very key thing in order to handle different situation. And if you will not face the situation, conflicts will keep on rising.
Yes.
It will keep on increasing.
Yes.
So there must be some point where you have to stop it, you have to open up, you have to speak about it. In case you are having any thoughts, any comments, or any situation you felt in your life, please do send us down in the comments. Another thing is that self-compassion. I have heard this. Originally, this is a very beautiful term. And I love talking about it. I love listening. Like, if you will talk 1 hour, I will keep on listening about self-compassion and all the thing. What is the role of self-compassion in self-confidence?
When it comes to self-confidence, obviously self-awareness is the biggest key. But when you're learning things about yourself, you're actually going into this phase of transformation because you're learning new things about yourself. We're always shifting and changing. And I think a big part of it is we're in this era of immediate. It has to be immediate action, immediate results. Like, okay, I learned this, boom, I need to have everything. And we're not gentle with ourselves. We don't have that compassion with ourselves. True. Now, when you think about a conversation with a friend and they're telling you something that has happened to them, you're sitting here giving them so much compassion and sharing, you know what, it's going to be okay. Give it time, be patient, you know, it's okay. But when it comes to ourselves, I haven't gotten this yet. Like, and then, okay, then that didn't work. And then you go into other things and you can go into a self-destructive mode. And that's when you realize I haven't given myself any compassion through a traumatic situation. I have this thing that I did on a program once called the Rampage of Compassion. And you go into your emotions and your feelings, but then you allow yourself to give some compassion back to yourself. And it really neutralizes the emotion that triggered you, but it's because of the compassion. So it plays a big, big part.
One thing that now there are particular situations when the confidence is really needed. You are doing a product presentation, you are in an interview, or you are meeting with your boss or with client, or you are having a public speaking session. So in such sessions, how to maintain the confidence? What kind of confidence is required there?
It is definitely required. I think if you think about it, a presentation to public speaking is one of the biggest fears that a lot of people have, the majority of people have. And when it comes to what level of confidence is needed for all of these, there's certain boundaries that you have to set for yourself. For example, if you know you're not ready to do something like that, you have to take that time
Right.
to find somebody to help you.
Right.
Get into that space where at least you feel comfortable enough that you can move forward, but that it's challenging for you. So it allows you to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
But if it's too much out of your comfort zone, it might be more hurtful to you than it is helpful.
Right.
So it's having that balance of understanding, okay, is it too far off for me, or is it enough to where it's challenging, but I'm willing to do it.
Right.
And so that's a big one. So even in an interview, if you're that shy or anything like that, that you feel like, oh my gosh, this is too much, what can I do?
Right.
You start looking at what can you do?
Right.
Get one of your friends to sit in there and ask you questions and practice and get uncomfortable and, say it and practice it over and over. Maybe we don't necessarily think about what we can do. We
Right.
focus on what we can't do.
Right.
And again, that goes back to self-awareness.
Right.
Solution-based mode. Like if I'm confident in myself, in my skill set, it's remembering who I am, remembering what I bring to the table, and connecting with that, aligning with that mentally and from the heart space to really know, why am I even applying for this position? Like you have to look inward even in that. Am I applying for it just because I want to, just because somebody told me to, or is it because I genuinely want to get that position?
Right.
If I do, why? Why do I want to work with that company? And that stress off of you goes on to the purpose.
Got it.
And so it kind of, it kind of takes you off like, oh, it's not really about me.
Yeah.
It's about the purpose that I have in presentation.
True.
Take that off of you like, oh, how am I going to look? Am I going to not have the right outfit? What is my face going to look like? Oh my gosh. You take that off of you because it's not about you at the end of the day.
True.
It's about the purpose. Is it a message that I'm trying to share? Is it a product that I'm trying to educate you on? That stress comes off of me and into that.
Right.
What is my goal? It's to share this message on the importance of confidence building.
Right. And somewhere like body language, that does matter also?
That's probably the most important.
Right.
Because people pick up, when they say like your energy walks into the room before you do.
Yeah.
It is very true. It is very, very true. If you're nervous and anxious and you haven't really connected with the value of who you are, you'll walk into a room and people know exactly that there's just something about that person that you're like, there's something about them. They're kind of, You don't really know, you can't really pinpoint it, but that happens with eye contact. When somebody's trying to, for example, sell you something, if you can't make eye contact, how can I trust you?
Yeah.
Eye contact is the biggest one for a handshake, for example. For a lot of us that, that have to do the handshake or we're used to the handshake, when you feel a weak or like, a sweaty hand, you already know that person is super anxious and it almost makes you not fully trust that person in whatever endeavor you're trying or collaboration you're planning on doing with them.
Right.
So body language is important. Your shoulders, when somebody's talking to you and they're down, it's like, what are they hiding? What is it? Okay, when you have that presence, it makes people want to look at you more and say, what does that person have to say?
Right.
Instead of you chasing, saying, hey, listen to me.
Right.
You don't do that. People just want to genuinely listen to you.
I believe that you are a kind of a woman empowerment ambassador. And I personally think myself also very much big supporter of this thing that women should come in front of like whatever the field of life is, to run the business, to handle family, or to any situation.
Yes.
One stigma is associated, that's about the confidence. Like while women, a lot of people say that even they are driving, they are not confident. Whether they are running a business or doing a job, they are not confident.
Yes.
Sometimes people who are assigning them that task or any job, they are not confident that this could be able to do or not. So how women can build their self-confidence, how they can become more confident in every walk of life.
We're naturally built that way. Look at as children, when you have little girls, don't do this, don't get dirty, you're gonna fall down, you're gonna do this. Yet for the boys, go play. Like if they fall, get up. Like that has been ingrained in our DNA, in our every cell. And so now is when we're looking at it. Now is when we're saying, why did we do that? Why didn't we tell the little boys and girls the same thing? We didn't. And so it's in our DNA. But for women nowadays that are building, it's known, like Dove did a research project on this, where men would apply for positions for if they only had 60% of the skill set,
Right.
whereas women didn't apply until they had 100% of the skill set. So we take ourselves out of the game before the game is even presented.
Right.
And that's where we have now. It goes back to that self-awareness.
Right.
As women, we cater to everybody else around us. That's the nurturing way.
Yeah.
Our husbands, our partners, our kids, our colleagues, anybody's going through something, and we put ourselves last. We put them and the needs of everybody else in front, and then we don't take care of ourselves until the very end.
Right.
And that has been like this from generation to generation. So at what point do we decide, I'm worthy, I deserve this, I'm putting myself in number one spot?
Right.
When you put yourself in that number one spot, that's where you start getting all the help. You start getting curious as to why do I question myself so much? Why do I always do that? And when you start those questions, it creates that curiosity. And for that transformation to happen of now you're curious, now you want to know the answer.
Right. Yeah.
So now you go exploring and watching videos like something like this and just everything else that kind of comes with it. So a big tip is for those women that have that kind of lifestyle where everybody else is first. You need to put yourself first. This is what you deserve. And then it's time. From there, everything is possible. The possibilities for that are endless.
We can talk hours and hours.
This is true.
But considering the limitation of the time, if you want to give some quick tip to everybody, whether they are a student or they are running their business or they are employee or they are parents or they are the kids who are growing up, how important is having confidence and what they should do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in their day-to-day life so that they can become more confident?
That's a great question. One thing that I will say, if you're a parent, you must get help for yourself. You have to know what it means to be confident for yourself, because how are you going to teach your children if you don't know how to do it for yourself? So is it important when people say, I don't have time for that? Is it that really you don't have time because your kids depend on it? You need to teach your kids, how does that work? How does that function? Right. And the first piece, and I'm going to say it over and over and over, and this is probably the third time you hear it, but one of the main things is, who am I? When you ask yourself, who am I? Now you realize that answer changes as we move into different parts of our lives, different phases of our lives where we were single or we run our own business now, where we got married now, or we have children now. That why changes, or who am I? That we go through identity crisis, a lot of us. Right. When we used to do this, but now we're not, or we used to be able to do this, but now we can't. All these things that we always compare ourselves with our own achievements and our own accomplishments. And a big part of that is, where does that come from? So who am I now in the present moment? I'm here right now. What can I do to move forward? What is my next step?
Right.
It makes it simple. Instead of, I need to find purpose, I need to find this, it becomes this overwhelming project of self-discovery. When it's like, can we just, one day at a time, every morning, what can I do today to help myself? Right. And it's just from the present, not from what I used to be able to blah, blah, blah 10 years ago.
True.
What can I do now? This is the biggest key, and I don't want to give any other tips on that specifically because that one is so powerful. Right. But it's just do that one thing. Don't overcomplicate life.
Right.
One day at a time, one step for that day. That's it.
If you have any questions, any thing particular you faced in your situation and you want doctors to comment on it, please do send it to us and she'll be happy to assist you. I know that confidence is having a lot of its advantages, and especially in the success of someone, right? I will not pinpoint that this is the only secret of success, but while you have worked with a lot of multinational companies, with the top tier management, with the executives, leaders, but in the same time with the just career starters or with the students, and as you were telling that you are having some beautiful program that you want to implement in schools, like in order to build confidence of children from the beginning. What is the secret of success?
Honestly, I think it's self-awareness. The thing is that you have to be self-aware to change. Somebody wants you to change, oh, you're too this, you're too that. You don't even understand why. Like when people say, you need to eat salad. Okay, but why? If you tell me it's because it has nutrients, it's because it impacts the way you digest it, because when you give me the why, then it makes me want to do it. Right. It makes me, you know what, you're right, I do need to eat salad. And it's kind of that same mentality. What is the importance of confidence? Right. That is a big key to success. It's self-awareness. It's understanding who I am, what I bring to the table, what my weaknesses are, my fears, right. and be able to use that to catapult me forward. Instead of it being the thing that shackles me down, right. the thing that keeps me stagnant, that I replay the story over and over and over of a failure. And it's like, okay, I can continue to do that, or I can deal with it, right. understand it, be able to get the learning piece out of it, right. and then move forward with the learning piece. Right. But leaving that behind and just continue that momentum moving forward and being able to teach your kids that. Right. If you as a parent are empowered with confidence and you say, you know what, I do need to learn about that. Now, the thing is that everybody has a different style of confidence. Yeah. I think people have a misconception of that where, you know, you're supposed to be the most, you know, loud or the, you know, that person in the room that everybody wants to be. It's not necessarily the case. I've shifted, my own confidence has shifted where I now become the observer in the room, right. where I can sit at a table and just observe, and I find the beauty in just observing people, right. because I learn and I start picking up things, and I love that. Right. It doesn't mean I'm shy and I don't want to talk to anybody. It means if somebody comes talks to me, I'm more than happy, but I'm not that person that needs to be out and about mingling. Now there's other situations where I feel great and I want to be the social butterfly. So I can shift. And, right. But that is my natural level of confidence. Right. Your natural level of confidence might be totally different. Everybody else is totally different. So it's making sure you don't measure yourself from somebody else's cup. Right. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different measurement. True. Make sure you measure it for yourself. Are you better than yesterday? Are you better than you were a year ago? Right. That's your level of measurement versus somebody else.
Knowing oneself, like who they are and what they want to do, where they are good, and instead of comparing them with other people, it's best to compare with themselves, where they were yesterday and where they are now. Correct. And that continuous improvement, that's the secret of success. If one step every day they are moving forward, it means they're closer to that success, yes. which they have set for themselves. A lot of people are lacking to find or to identify their passion, what they want to do in their life. And again, if someone does not know what is the meaning of passion or about what they are passionate and they are just in this everyday's mechanical life, I think so reaching to success, it will be difficult.
Yes.
Can you advise to the people how they can identify where they are passionate, and in case they do not have any passion, how they can build passion?
A big part of it is understanding yourself. What is my weakness? What is my strength? Asking friends. I mean, a lot of the time people are like, I don't even know. What are your values? What is it that makes you excited about life? Some people are so numb because of stuff that has happened in the past. And so you can't connect. If your heart is not open to connect right. with something, someone, then that's something first that you need to work on. That's a part, like, okay, I need to work on that. Right. So the passion then comes naturally as you start looking at what is it that I love to do? What is it that makes me smile? What fulfills me? Right. And honestly, it may not be exactly what you're doing. The thing is that a lot of people fear that. Like they know it in their heart that what they're doing is not what makes their heart jump with joy.
Yeah,
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
And they're afraid to look at that. And so it's easier. It's easier to just take that step forward.
Right.
And so they can put that to the side. But when you connect with that passion, you honestly have no other choice but to either start taking those steps to go in that direction. Start, again, it's a curiosity.
Right.
We forget that as children. Children are curious to explore the world. Any little thing that they have, you're curious about it. Why did we lose that? Why did we lose that as adults? Because we're supposed to be a certain way. Right. We're supposed to accomplish certain things. We have to finish school at a certain time. You know, it becomes this robotic system of routine, of life, that if we just hit stop, if we hit pause for just a second and give ourselves that time to just think, to just pause and then be able to say, okay, I want to know what is it that like makes me happy. Maybe it is staying at home with their kids, but yet they have this belief in their head, I must achieve CEO by the time I'm 45, you know. If that becomes it, then you won't ever connect with your passion. And my passion is, you know, I want to be with kids at home and teaching them or creating programs with them or whatever that may be. So are you ready though? Are you ready to explore that purpose, that passion? And that's the key question is, are you willing to drop everything that you've been doing to follow that pursuit of happiness at the end of the day? Because that's what makes you happy. And that fulfillment comes in. Is the fulfillment enough for you to drag you out of bed every day to keep you going? And those are some questions that you have to be able to answer for yourself. You may not be ready right now, but it may be next year.
There will be time.
There will be time.
Center of confidence. And I can clearly see the level of confidence which you have and you're delivering to the people, and you are passionate that people should be confident in their life, whether they are students or they are senior leaders. I don't have doubt, but I would love to ask you that what is the attractive part of your job or what you do?
Honestly, and the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I saw how much it held me back. So I was never like this. This was not like I came naturally like this. It took a lot of struggle, a lot of situations that happened in my life that made me get to that point of stop. What am I doing? What is life? Life is happening and I am not fully present. I'm not happy with my life. What is it that I need to change? And a big part of it was as I went through this journey, and you have to embrace the journey. I know everybody says that and it's so cliche, but honestly, it's so true. As you go through this journey and you start picking up the things that you realize, you start noticing patterns that you do. And in every area, relationship, work, business, and for myself, my physical image, a big part of it was I lacked that self-confidence in myself, that belief in myself. And so the turns that you take in life, the choices that you make dictate how confident you are. And that's big. The fact that your level of confidence impacts the decisions that you make, that's huge. Because it can shift you. You're still going to get to your destination, but it's going to take you a lot longer to get there. Now, if we just connected with that now, if we taught children in school how to handle that, how to love themselves no matter what they look like. And that direction, that path is different. And so the importance of it is that the attractive piece is watching the transformation happen in people. Oh my gosh, when I see that glow in somebody's eyes where I'm like, they got it, they clicked, they're aligned now. And to see that they become this different person. You know, I've had clients within a month and a half that are like chit-chatting, like they don't even recognize the person that they were a month and a half ago. When I remind them, remember when you came in and you said this and this, and they don't even remember it. They're like, oh yeah, that's right. Because they're so in tune with themselves and they're comfortable in the skin that they're in, that it becomes this like, oh my gosh, they can now move through life having the tools that they need, but also understanding a little bit more about themselves.
While meeting with a lot of people in different organizations, what did you identify? What are the challenges at today's workplace?
A big part of it is the value in learning and development, the value in this kind of training, because it's soft skills. And a lot of people want, what's the return? What's my return on investment? And it's like, when are we going to get out of this mentality of, we want the returns immediately? You know, when you were walking, did you immediately, as soon as you tried it, your first 3 steps, did you immediately know how to walk? No, you didn't. You had to fall a few times and kind of redo it and get back up and kind of see what was for you. So it's okay for the kids, but when we need to figure that out in life, when we're going through this self-discovery, we are going to fall. We are going to scrape our knees. And then we're going to get back up and we're going to stay on that same journey of self-discovery. And I think corporates are little by little, I will say, they're becoming more conscious of mental health, well-being, where your staff is your biggest asset. They're the ones on the calls. They're the ones out in the field. And if they're not fully connected with themselves, even your leaders, your managers, your directors, how are you expecting them to lead their staff? They're going to lead them to their capacity, which is capped out. If they're not learning, if they're not going into this understanding more about oneself, how are they supposed to lead their teams?
When you see the different generations at workplace, we are having Xers, we are having millennials, and we are now having the latest Gen Z also. What do you identify the level of self-confidence is at different generations?
I think it's different, very, very different. I think for us now in our generation, we went through a lot of hardships and we had to learn through things, and parenting styles were totally different. And now with the millennials coming into the workforce and everybody, oh, they're lazy or they're this or they're that, it's a completely different perspective. And so what can we do to bridge that is understand each other.
Right.
And it's that level of having a sit down with them and these guys and say, okay, what is it that you guys are expecting? Because this is our expectation.
Right.
What is your expectation? What is it that you guys see? Because they may have some amazing ideas.
Right.
And we're missing out on those resources. But it's also helping them understand. Things don't come right away. You can't get a promotion within 2 days of being here. You know, they're like, oh, I did my job, like promotion time. Helping them understand why that's not happening. Instead of criticizing them, you think you're this, you're entitled, you're that. Why don't we understand it and help them through it? Like, look, that's not what happens. What do you need help with? You know what? I don't know how to deal with rejection. I don't know how to deal with whatever. Okay, then let's help them to be more self-aware, understand where that's coming from.
Right.
And then bring them forward. We didn't deal with social media, like the bullying on social media. Not in our generation.
Right.
So they're dealing with completely different issues than we did.
True.
But yet we're trying to measure them the same way. We can't. It's completely different. We're comparing apples to oranges.
True.
So that's a big one.
I love asking to all of my guest speakers, and that is how to keep work-life balance. Because millennial, they are the people, they do not want to be bound for 9 to 5 and sitting next to the manager who is a micromanager, observing and seeing every activity, and by end of the day asking, give me the report, what time you came, what time you are leaving, and all those things. So I'm sure that those people are expecting more a work-life balance. But in the same time, it's important for organizations to get the work done and keep their employees happy.
Yes.
So how to maintain or keep work-life balance?
I think you said it perfectly, is once the executives, once the C-suites understand that it's not just because people want to have this work-life balance, like lifestyle, it's a luxury. Like if you do, it's a luxury. It isn't a luxury. It's actually needed for people to be productive in the best way possible. Right. It's kind of like communication. You can talk all day and yell at them all day and make them work. But at the end of the day, is the message getting across? No, it's not. So we need to switch that into effective communication. Right. So it's the same way as this. It's effective leadership. What do we want? Do we want this work-life balance? Okay, what does that mean? That means you guys want to work 4 days a week. Okay, so what then do we get in return? Like, it's being able to compromise and negotiate on that. And it's truly understanding, is there maybe a brainstorming day where everybody says, how can we get this work done faster, effectively, but yet the quality is still the same, that it doesn't impact the quality. Right. And why are we not having these conversations? Right. Because then both sides win. Both sides are getting what they want. But it's this mentality of somebody is thinking, you need to be sat in that desk from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Like, that's where you need to be. Right. If you are still thinking, if you're a manager that's still thinking that is the way it is, you got a lot of stuff coming to you. True. Reality's going to hit you, and good luck, because you're going to have to deal with it anyway. You're going to have to learn how to work together. The mindset is shifted. True. Either you're with the program or you're not, and if you're not, there's going to be a lot of resistance that you're going to have to be dealing with.
When you were growing up, any piece of advice which you think that if someone has offered you, you could have been better today, are different than what you are, and you like to give that piece of advice to people?
Oh my gosh, yes, a big one. And I think it's when you're growing up, you have less fears and less doubts, right? And so you come up with this thing like, I want to be so and so, or I want to do this. The moment that you hear somebody say, that's not good, that position is not going to exist, that resistance with it, it's hold yourself to the point where you say, am I that in love with that thing that I want to be, or that person that I want to see, that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be that? Obviously not like bad stuff, but you know, where you feel so empowered that you know that's the direction you're going to go to, that it's okay to go against what people say to you.
Right.
I think I had it along, even when I was young, that you're too shy, you're too this, you're too little, I'm too something. That what I wanted, it was that stop that people said, yeah, you're not going to be good for that. And it was like, but can I just give it a try? Let me just try to do it.
Right.
Because if I fail, I'll get up and then do whatever else I need to do. I'll figure it out. And that's a piece of advice, is you're going to figure it out. You'll figure it out. You're going to mess up. It's okay. You'll figure it out. That's like the main tip that I could give my younger self.
Right.
Just do what you feel is right in your heart, that you connect with, and you're going to fail, and it's going to be okay.
One piece of advice for the leaders who are in the top of any organization, it is expected that they should be confident to handle different type of situation. But again, when the now newer, younger generation workforce is coming, things are changing. So what kind of piece of advice or tip you want to give to leaders, that how they should be prepared confidently to handle all this?
Come into a situation with a level of understanding. What is your goal when you're having these conversations? Even in just the boardroom, is a level of understanding of what is it that we need to shift, because times are changing. It's already happening. What do we need to do as leaders? Do we need to get trained on having millennials in our offices, or their approach is different? Right. The approach that I use for you is going to be totally different approach that I use for them. So I have to know how to use that. I have to know how to do it. Right. If I don't feel capable of doing that, then my organization needs some kind of training for that. Right. And that's a big key, is self-reflection at the end of the day. Right. Am I equipped enough? Am I comfortable enough to move forward and talk about this with the group, or bring it up and find a solution? Or am I so closed-minded and stuck in my ways that I'm willing not to do it?
Resources or anything which you want to suggest to people if they want to build their confidence, or they want to continue this journey of maintaining and growing confidence? You have any books, you have any videos, you have, I'm sure that your own stuff that will be very helpful for them. So guys, if you are not still following Dr. Nancy on her social channels, so please do so. I'll put down in the comments her LinkedIn and other pages. So just follow her. You will be finding a lot of valuable stuff which is going to boost your confidence. So you have got anything to...
Yes, I do. I have a free webinar, as a matter of fact. It's on the link on my bio on the Instagram handle. Right. And that's where anybody can get I'm going to be shifting it probably within the next couple of months. Right. So if you want to get it, make sure you get it now. But it's a free resource, and it's for anybody who needs a few tips, examples, stories that I share in there, which is perfect for anybody. And it's simple, easy steps. It's nothing overcomplicated.
We once again appreciate your time, and we look forward to have you back again on the channel.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody, for continuously watching all the show. Life is not a straight line. It's ups and downs, and there are the different level of confidence which you need to show when you are up or when you are down. So keep on learning, keep on observing yourself where you are today and where you want to reach next place. You will be having a lot of resources on this channel. Please keep on watching. Thank you very much once again, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching this episode. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon for regular updates.